And you are listening to us on Biz Talk Radio. Joining me now is Ben Pelosi, and Ben has a new book. He is an author of Stop Lying, Getting Unlost and Unstuck in Your Life. And boy, I have to tell you, Doctor, it is a pleasure. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you.
So we are all guilty of this. And is it procrastination, or is it just what is it? Why do we not take on and pave the way and do what we need to do?
Well, first, let me just say, I do think there are people who don't do this. I don't think everybody lies. There are people who are okay. But for the rest of us, the answer to your question is, believe it or not, it's easier. It's just much easier to lie than to tell the truth. And that applies to people who come to my office in a lot of pain. There's many, many case examples of this in the book. And recently, I've had a experience with a bunch of people who come in with depression, and it turns out they're not depressed. That itself is a lie. But whatever people are saying hurts. Think of the obsessive person who says, I can't make a decision, it's agony. And it is. Believe it or not, that's less painful than facing what really hurts. So that's why we do it.
So as a psychologist, and you practice and you see people all the time, you testify. By the way, you're also, is this true? You're also an actor and a singer?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been really lucky with that. I didn't pursue them. That wasn't my first love. Really, is being a psychologist. But I got very lucky early on and did well in a couple of things, and people would recommend me for other things. So I've had a lot of fun. But I wouldn't want to call myself an actor, because real actors have to fight for careers in a way I didn't. I didn't do.
Yeah. So give us an example of how an innocent lie can really do harm.
Okay. An innocent lie. Well, let's...
or how it helps us, or tell us...
An example is from a movie, because many people have seen it, so I don't have to give a lot of background. And the movie is Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon's first film, or first big success. Yeah, and you may remember, and even if you haven't seen it, it's easy to describe. He's a kid who was physically abused by either his foster or foster father, I can't recall. And he's the lie that he had to tell himself to survive is a common one, and that is, I ain't scared. This doesn't hurt. You're an idiot. You don't.
Oh,
me.
To
his father. Now that starts as a survival mechanism, because a child told you're a worthless piece of so and so, and beaten. Or ignored alternately ignored. I just met a new patient like that with that history. That's devastating, and we have to tell ourselves something to survive. And the common thing is, I ain't scared, I can handle it. And if you recall in the movie, you meet Matt Damon's character when he's 19 or so, and he's grown up into a tough kid. He gets in a lot of fights. He's very hostile to anybody except his little small group of friends that he trusts from childhood. So the lie started out as something that helped him to survive, so he didn't literally go nuts. But it becomes something that inhibits his life. And let me be clear how this works. So he's running around saying, I don't need anybody, you don't scare me, nothing hurts, I'm fine. But if you recall in the movie, he's living a very constricted, depressed, inhibited life. He's living in the same ramshackle house that he grew up in. It's quite depressing. He's never fixed it up. He's got no contact except this small group of friends from childhood. He works a menial job, even though he's a genius. And even when this pretty pre-med student at Harvard takes an interest in him, she has to virtually hog-tie him to get a date with him. He's so shy. But of course, he covers all that up by acting tough. So what's devastating about this, first of all, is that it constricts his life down to nothing. It's a very small, depressing life he's got. The other thing that happens, and this is what's so great about, this is why I wrote the book, is that when you uncover the lie, magic happens. The truth floods in, and you get unstuck. Your symptoms go away. So you may recall in the movie the climactic therapy scene that these movies always have is Robin Williams as the therapist saying to the kid over and over, that abuse that happened when you were a child, it wasn't your fault. And the kid keeps saying, oh, yeah, I know. And Robin Williams says, no, it wasn't your fault. He keeps sort of getting in his face with it because the kid keeps lying and saying, I know it wasn't my fault. I know my father's an idiot. I know I don't have to believe what he said. And then, because Robin Williams stays in his face like this, the therapist stays at him, the lie breaks down, and he bursts into tears, and he's racked with sobs. And what he realizes is that the truth is that he doesn't know that his father was wrong. The truth is he believes that he's worthless, and that's why he lives the way he does. When that lie is exposed, the movie's pretty much over. And the kid jumps in the car that his friends bought for him and drives across country to chase the girl that he chased away, and quits his menial job and moves forward with his life. And that's Hollywood. It's a little more dramatic than it usually happens, but it does happen that way. There's many examples in the book of people being sort of stuck in therapy. It's not going anywhere, and then that kind of a lie is exposed. Somebody realizes, oh, that's what I'm feeling. Not what I thought, but that. And from there, kind of like magic, the symptoms go away.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
You make such great sense, and your book, by the way, Stop Lying, Getting Lost and Unstuck in Your Life, whether the issue is the issue is anxiety or obsessive problems or depression, difficulty enjoying life, indecisiveness. Oh my gosh, I hate that one.
Yeah.
Difficulty. I have a few friends that are, it's just really crazy. Loving and being loved, substance abuse, domestic violence. And you really talk in the book about how psychotherapy enables us to change our negative perceptions of ourselves.
I'm sorry, the phone just clicked out. I really talk, what did you say?
Can you not hear me?
No, I hear you. It just clicked. I'm
sorry. Sure. What I was saying is I wanted you to share how psychotherapy enables us to change our negative perceptions of ourselves and how powerful it is.
Okay. Well, I refer you to the example I just gave. If you haven't seen the movie, rent it. It is that powerful. This poor kid talks big, talks tough, but lives a very, very small life.
But what I'm saying is,
therapy,
how do you
lie is exposed? Sorry, go ahead.
How do you find the right therapist, and how do you know if you're really in this for dealing with this issue? And these are complicated questions. So how do you go about that?
Okay. Well, the first step, first of all, it doesn't have to happen in therapy. That's where it happens most powerfully. And if your life has gotten in any way seriously derailed, it may be the only way that you can break through the lies that you're not detecting. But it can happen in smaller ways. Again, there's examples in the book. Two that come to mind are the story of a woman on a date whose date sort of confronted her, and instead of getting defensive, as most of us would on a date, she opened up to the possibility and realized that she had been lying to herself, and it produced the same kind of magic results I described in the movie. There's another story from attending a movie with a friend many years ago. So it doesn't have to happen in psychotherapy. But in therapy, you said, how does one get started? The first place, I think, is to realize that something interesting is going on that I'm not aware of. And that's a symptom. It can be as dramatic a symptom as being seriously depressed or anxious or involved in destructive relationships or whatever. It can be small. I was talking to somebody this morning who finds himself watching endless reruns of the TV show Law and Order, or one of those spin-offs. And he's a very busy, very, very bright, and very accomplished guy with a lot of interests. And he can't understand why he spends hour after hour watching this show that he describes as quite boring and eating too much. So there's a small example of, I'm doing something that doesn't quite make sense to me. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I just heard somebody say 1 minute.
Oh, yeah. That's the cue that our interview is done. Sorry. So, Doctor, the best website for you and the book would be what?
Mine, which is www.aboutpsychotherapy.com. One word.
Wonderful. And the book is aboutpsychotherapy.com, and the book is called Stop Lying.
And you can find the book through the website, and you can find lots of little articles I've written, and I'm going to post some of these media appearances. I've been on television a few times recently.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. And I will be back in just a moment right here, Biz Talk Radio. Stay tuned. This is Frankie Boyer. Joining me today is Keith Mori, founder of Super Good Stuff. They are the makers of functional products that we need to function better in the world. One of those products is an MSM formula. And Keith, it is such a powerful formula. What exactly is MSM and who needs it?
MSM, as far as I'm concerned, is the third most powerful product in the world. The reason for that, it's 34% sulfur, and sulfur is the third most used chemical in the body, and it helps with hair, nails, skin, knees, back, joints. It works on everything in the body. As I said, it's the third most powerful product in the world.
For more information about the MSM that Super Good Stuff makes, contact them directly at 949-651-6355. That's 949-651-6355. supergoodstuff.com.
Control, this is QL1. Everything looks good on my end. Prepping for liftoff. Over. One more thing, QL1. What's that, Control? You've been talking a lot about Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans lately. What would you say is the best reason to use it? Well, it's completely online. It's easy to use. You can get approved in minutes. It's convenient. You can share your pay stubs and bank statements at the touch of a button, so you get real numbers, not estimates. And hey, QL1, I asked for the best reason. Yeah, go ahead and pick one. Anyone. That's tough. They all sound great. I think you're finally getting it, Control.
3, 2, 1.
Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button. Get mortgage.
Rocket.
Visit for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Do you have an old car sitting in your driveway? How would you like to learn a hassle-free way to get rid of it, help kids in need, and get a great tax donation in the process? It's real easy. One simple free call to our car donation hotline is all it takes. Call the Neshama Foundation at 800-721-6723, 800-721-6723. We'll come pick your car up for free and give you a tax donation for the full value of the car, running or not. The value of your unwanted car will go to help kids in need. It's fast and easy. Just call us and your car will be gone and on its way to helping children in 48 hours. And you get a nice tax deduction. Call the Neshama Foundation now to get rid of your car, help kids, and get a tax write-off. Call 800-721-6723, 800-721-6723, 800-721-6723. That's 800-721-6723.
Do you owe $10,000 or more on at least 2 federal student loans? Then you may qualify for new programs offered by the Department of Education. These programs can reduce your interest, lower your payments, and possibly qualify you for loan forgiveness. If you have $10,000 or more and at least 2 federal student loans and currently not in school, you may qualify for one of these programs. Call now to check your eligibility. Student loan advisors are standing by to help you determine if you qualify for these new programs. They can help you reduce your interest, lower your payment, and even forgive a portion of your student loan debt. Take control of your financial future. Make this free 5-minute free call now to Nationwide Student Loans and learn how you can reduce your student loan debt.
800-439-1588, 800-439-1588, 800-439-1588, 800-439-1588.
Are you struggling with addiction or alcohol problems? If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-547-6533. 800-547-6533.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction Hope and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares. Call 800-547-6533. 800-547-6533. 800-547-6533.
BizTalkRadio.com.
And welcome back. It is Frankie Boyer. This is Biz Talk Radio. Check out the new FrankieBoyer.com, and we are back with our guest, Dr. Ben Pelosi, who's an actor, singer, and the author and a clinical psychologist, and the author of Stop Lying, Get Unlost and Unstuck in Your Life. Welcome back. So this is the question. When men and women stay in toxic relationships, what's that lie that they're saying to themselves, Doctor?
Wow. Well, there can be many, and they can be layered. One of the common ones is, of course, the next time we have this argument, I'll be able to finally get through to the other person, and it won't degenerate into violence. Next time, I'll finally make my point. Next time, we won't get so angry that we get violent, something like that. That's one of them. The other one is that, here's the big one, if I don't have this relationship, I won't have anything.
That's right, yes.
Now again,
that's a real big one.
Before, and we should make this point clearly. These are unconscious lies I'm talking about in the book. Very important distinction. We're not talking about anything people are aware of on the surface. As soon as we're aware of them, they tend to go away. So it's not like a person usually says out loud, oh, I'm going to be nothing without this abusive person. That's buried. They might rationalize it with, as I said before, oh, he doesn't mean it, she doesn't mean it. The next time, we're working on it. It happens less, or something like that. But what's really going on is a desperate terror of being alone, for example.
Yes, and I know of a lot of people in my life that have gone from one relationship to another, and they're not even aware that they have done this, but they just have this fear of being alone.
Common, unfortunately. Can I tell you a quick example?
Yes, please.
A few seconds?
Yes, we do.
I was just talking to someone this morning, somebody I see, who has been, actually it's somebody I write about in the book. If you go to the first chapter and look for Carl, is what I called him. Now, this is a person who's been in a relationship for 12, 13 years. They've been married for about 11 of that, and pretty much the entire time this spouse has been unavailable, really not openly not interested in him. And he stays in it. And again, this is, as I mentioned before the break, a very high-functioning guy, and very bright and very aware, socially, interpersonally, emotionally. So why does he keep staying there? Why does he keep saying, if I can just figure this out, she'll love me? I mean, it's preposterous. There's no data to support that that'll ever happen. Well, because there's a deeper lie that he's struggling with, which is that this marriage is a repeat of his environment growing up, of how his parents, both of them in their ways, were astonishingly uninterested in him and just ignored him, just left him. And he hasn't really faced that. So one of the lies he's telling himself is, she'll love me again as soon as we work this out. Well, if you listen to the story of the relationship, they really never were in love, so that's a lie. Another one is, everything in my life is really pretty much okay. My past was fine, I feel good. It's just this one little problem. Well, not so little, but it's just one problem. And then, of course, another lie, the big one, is this is the only thing I really feel bad about. this marriage, and if I can just sort of tweak this marriage, then I'll be okay. And of course, that's not true. And he has other symptoms that show us that there's a lot more going on. This is a guy who's got some anxiety problems, some breaks out in rashes, that sort of thing. So we know there's more going on than just, I can't get through to my wife.
Right. What I find so fascinating about this is that there's obviously, for many, an imbalance in our lives. We are working too much.
Yeah.
There's just this. So there must be some lies going on there that this busyness that we seem to have as a society 24/7.
You bet. You bet. Now, I don't want to pretend that I can diagnose the entire world's ills. That's a little grandiose.
Too bad.
Some things that a person, for themselves, individually, not diagnosing the whole world, some things a person might individually think about, is what's going on with me. Often there's a terror that builds, and it's fed by the terror of everybody around you, that, similar to the relationship thing we just talked about, if I don't work, if I don't make this deal, if I don't succeed at this project, if I don't get that to happen, I'll fall apart, nothing will work, I'll never have anything. I have this very sweet woman in my office, new person, who what goes through her head any moment that she's not working is, oh my God, someone else is working, I'm falling behind, I'm going to be broke, I'm going to be a bag lady out on the street. I mean, she really believes this. And it's very common. Again, when you say it out loud, it always sounds a little silly. These things are unconscious, they're buried. And one way you can see if maybe that's what's going on with you is to notice, for example, when you get away for a weekend or you go on vacation, do you get a whole new perspective? Do you suddenly have these moments of realizing, what am I fussing about? The world didn't end because I took a day off.
Yeah.
And then you can't remember that the rest of the time. But if you have moments like that,
I think it's great. Yeah, no, I think
wait a minute, there's got to be more truth here than what I am consciously aware of running through my busy life. And one of those truths is, this isn't so important.
It's so true.
To pay one's bills,
so true.
You're living.
Yeah.
This isn't worth getting an ulcer over. This isn't worth. Here's a great story for you. And my father, I know, is going to forgive me for making this public, but he's already in the book. He already gave me permission. My dad suffered from asthma and lots of back troubles. All that I could remember is all of my life. So I was born when he was in his late 30s. The day he retired, almost the day he retired, all those problems went away.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, thank you so much for staying on with us today. It was wonderful, Dr. Ben Pelagi, and the book is now available wherever books are sold. Stop Lying, Get Unlost and Unstuck in Your Life.
Yeah,
and the best website
is through my website.
About psychotherapy, abouttpsychotherapy.com. Thanks so much for being with us, Doc. And thank all of you. This has been another edition of the Frankie Boyer Show for Biz Talk Radio. Thanks for listening.